Hello students, welcome back. Today we have a very interesting topic. Let's move forward from there where we left. Now we are going to go on the topic which is very much required in a business. Yes, indeed, sole proprietorship and partnership. These are two aspects that we are going to learn today. Let me take you through the first one, which is sole proprietorship. Now, as the name says, sole proprietorship, what do you mean by that? A person who does sole, that means by himself or herself. So it is a business which is owned by a person and controlled by a person. Now, as the name suggests, so it's actually one person who's owning and who's controlling the business. Now, obviously, when you own and control the business, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to manage the risk, manage the resources, manage finance. And obviously, profits are also yours. But how about the losses? Again, losses are yours too. Just to take an example, if you have a shop, let's say you open a shop for tourists, right? Have a souvenir, right? So you are the person who are responsible for everything for that shop, arranging the money to buy the products for the shop, and in case of any issues, to manage the money for that, to pay the bills, to mitigate any, and if you have any employee, so to pay the wages of the employee. Okay, so that is where you are a sole proprietor. Now, same thing could go if you have a small hotel or a restaurant. This would be your responsibility. Now, like that, you may have let's say an employee. As I said before, when you have an employee, you have actually all the responsibility of the employee as well as the business. However employee responds, so you are supposed to give them a training. So that means you all in all are responsible for your business. So I'll just give you an example from practical experience. I had my own business where I was teaching students for certain things, and when I started this business, I actually started with the point that what exactly do I need in business? So I made the inventory. I saw how much finances I do need. I saw I need some marketing and sales. I saw I need some flyers and brochures. I saw I need some internet website. So all those things were done by me. And then once I made this, I said, okay, fair enough. Now I'm ready. Then I did an official opening, and I called people to have an official opening. And then they came around and they supported me, and then I put that in the newspaper and media. So what am I doing? I'm promoting the business in the very first phase. And then, fair enough, I had all the plans. Now, I had also my staff members. Yeah. So I was responsible for their wages. I was responsible for their if they are sick or not coming, and all those things are my responsibility to cover them up just in case they don't come. All those things were managed by me, and that's exactly what it was. My own business. I was the only person responsible. My finances were there. So let's look at some salient features of sole proprietorship. So obviously, it's a single ownership. So obviously, you're the only owner for that. So it's your common identity. That means it's your organization. It's your personal organization. Sometimes what happens if you have a big organization or public limited company, where you have a company which is separate identity to you. So, but sole proprietorship is a person who is doing that. Now, obviously, finance is your headache and finance is your responsibility too. We have profits and loss for sure, because as I was telling you that if the company makes profit, or if your business makes profit, then it is your profit. But if the business makes loss, it's your loss. That means you are the one who have to manage. In that case, what happens is it's your own assets that you have to be taken into consideration. Do you have any backup assets that you have kept it? Or if you're taking a bank loan, bank will also give you a loan based on what you have, isn't it? Or what property you have on based on something. So you have to have managing your finances. And obviously, when it comes to profits and losses, you're the one who are decision making what to do during your profits, what to do during your losses. Now that comes the important aspects. It's easier to register as sole proprietorship. It is not really a hectic process of having registering sole proprietorship. I have done that at 2 different places, and it was quite nice and easy. And it's not a big hectic job. And additionally, it's easy to dissolve also, not just register. That means, let's say if and I have done that. So what happened? My business did not work after, I think, for 2.5 to 3 years. I realized that I need to shut it down. I shut it down. So it does not really take much of the hassle to. Whereas if you're in a company, if you're in a limited company, or if you're in a partnership, things are quite different in terms of you need to have a lot of legal requirements, and if there is any loans to be paid and whatnot. So a lot of processes involved in case you're not a sole proprietor. So sole proprietor for sure. And in terms of tourism businesses, because in tourism, if you have, it's a small business setup, it's good to have proprietorship where you can really, you can have your showmanship, or you can provide services like a travel agency, tour operator. You do need staff, but more than that, it's your own expertise, which is quite important, and that really helps and works. Now let's move on from here to advantages. What are the advantages? What are the advantages of sole proprietorship? As the name says, sole proprietorship. So obviously, let's look at the benefits. What do you think? What could be the one? Let me guess. Before I say, think about one. What do you think could be the benefit? You are the one boss, isn't it? You're the one boss, yeah. You take decisions. You don't take orders. But having said that, I tell you, when you have your own business, even though you're your own boss, at every step you have to take a decision. At every moment you have to take a decision. And you really want to take decision, informed decisions. That means if I go right, what happens? If I go on left, what happens? So you have to do the calculations. You have to manage your decisions, because end of the day, it's your money, it's your passion. And okay, let's look at that. So first thing, which is easy, an advantage in terms of sole proprietorship, is it's very easy to set up. Yes, indeed, it is very easy to set up. As I was telling you, I have my experience in terms of starting a business, a sole proprietorship business, small business, and that also, it was quite easy to set up. And I have dissolved my business too, and I dissolved after 2.5 years. So it was quite an easy process to start and to end a business. So not a big hassle that comes over here. That's the first thing which I want to acknowledge, because as I said, I have done it on my own. Now, next thing is, imagine when you work in any business, any company, any organization, when you work. So let's say if I work in a university, and if I have to take a decision, obviously I have to have a process. I need to follow a process to take a decision. I need to speak to my supervisors, write an email, or take approval from a manager. But when you are your own boss, or when your sole proprietorship is there, do you really need to take a decision? Yes, you take a decision, but it's your own decision. Now, you may seek someone's help. You may get someone to support you, to guide you, to get right information, but you have a lot of flexibility and you have a lot of independence of taking decisions. So that's a big part in terms of decision making, along with ease of starting the business, the decision making. Because obviously, if you're having a right direction and right decision, you have a very good chances of getting a positive outcome of the business. Well, I was not that lucky though. Anyways, now then comes profits. Money makes the mayor go. Obviously, we do business for profits. We enjoy profit, because if we're not having profits in a business like mine, I could not survive. I survived because I had my capital for 2.5 years. I was spending a lot of money, but it did not survive for a long time. So I had to shut it down. So money or profits are the incentives to move forward. And obviously, that gives you efficiency, that gives you a lot of confidence, that gives you a lot of happiness, and that makes you expand and grow in a business. Now, again, there's another very important aspect in terms of sole proprietorship, that when you're doing a business, you really actually are very much active, and to take a decision or to adapt yourself to the latest changes in the market, you can do it instantly, because you are the one who's taking decision, right? When you are taking decision, when you see there's a change in the market, why not? So I'll give you an example. Let's say if you have a souvenir shop and it's a tourist destination. So I know I'll take one example, that is Jammu. So let's say you are there at Jammu or Vaishno Devi market. Jammu and Vaishno Devi is actually a hill station. It's a pilgrimage in Jammu and Kashmir, in the part of Jammu, and it is around 40 kilometers from Jammu. Now, a lot of tourists, around 10 million tourists come over there every year. So I'm just talking about a lot of tourists there. Now, what happens is, let's say you have a souvenir shop, okay, and then you realize that your tourists have change of taste. Now, particular item, they are not taking item A as many times as they're taking item B, and the preference is going more. So maybe the trend has changed. What would you do? The first thing first, you would stock more of item B than item A, and maybe as soon as item A finishes, you'll have more variety of item B, so that we know what is changing and what is the market condition, isn't it? And you should move on from there. So that's exactly what it is, that you actually can take decisions or adapt to the market conditions to fulfill the customer needs, and that's exactly what is required in a business. And sole proprietorship gives you all the skills and all the leverage or all the liberty to do that. So that's another good part in terms of sole proprietorship that really can take care of, or you should be enjoying. Now, then comes, I'll compare the same business of yours where you took a decision of changing a souvenir A to souvenir B. But if that was in a bigger organization and you saw something in terms of you need to seek permission from your supervisor and a manager, and see maybe your manager does not think the same way. Maybe he has a different opinion, or maybe the supervisor has a different data in the last few years. So again, decision making makes a bit of a change. Okay, now then comes obviously confidentiality. Well, if you take a decision, whatever you do in your business, it stays within your business. It's very confidential. You know what you're doing and what you're not doing, and stays there and does not become a public information. So that's a very good part of it. Like bigger companies, they have to declare their balance sheets, the end of quarterly or yearly balance sheet. They have to declare, but not for sole proprietorship. Well, I understand that we have sole proprietorship and a lot of good things we talked about. Do they have some bad things too? I mean, not really bad things, I would say. Do they have some disadvantages, to be more precise? Let's look what could be the disadvantages when we have sole proprietorship. Okay, obviously, no business, nothing comes. The coin has two sides. So if you have a one side, we must have second side too. And have a look at it. What is the other side of proprietorship, which is disadvantages? Okay, obviously, risk taking. So obviously, everything comes down to you. So you are a sole proprietor, that means you're the owner. You may take bigger risk, but you may be limited to take a risk too. You know why? Because let's say you're the only person who is actually investing finance. So you may not like to take more risk, because if I take risk, I may put myself into this situation or that situation. That means it really inhibits you, it stops you from taking risk taking, which again all depends on a lot of factors. That means you might be very, very cautious. Should I be doing this? Maybe no. Maybe if I do, what if this happens? What if that happens? So that's something which is it becomes a liability if things go wrong. If you do a business and you take a decision of stocking more of souvenirs of type B rather than souvenir of type A in your shop at Katra, and you realize that you spend maybe 1 lakh rupees extra on buying souvenirs for type B, and then after a few days you realize none has been sold, so they have moved on to A. You overstock. Should I do that? Should I not do that? So that's exactly what you become overconscious, and your decision making really change. So obviously, what happens? So you actually put your organization in huge loss, because now you have a lot of you can say stuff or souvenir which is towards what's it called, So in a B, rather, which is a lot of investment and which is debt investment, because obviously, okay, always remember, in a business, when you invest something, that means especially when you are, what's it called, when you are having a souvenir shop or any retail shop. So your inventory is amount of number of items that you have in your business. Your inventory becomes weight. What do you mean by that? I mean, I had, let's say, 20 souvenirs of A, which is costing me maybe 200 rupees or maybe 500 rupees every souvenir. So 20 souvenirs is 10,000 rupees. We have souvenirs of A. So in a B, which is again 200, but instead of 20, I actually asked for 100. So that becomes around how much? 50,000. So I invested 50,000 rupees here, and here I invested 20,000. So I have invested 5 times more. Now, what happens if this 20,000? That means if that extra 50,000 rupees customer do not take it. So I have invested my extra 50,000 rupees here, which I could use for something else. So I actually block my inventory. So that's why I'm saying it's very important to make sure that your inventory is there and it's maintained, because if it's too much of something is there which is lying over there, it's your money, but you cannot get the money. It's a souvenir, right? So that's where I was trying to say that taking decisions may sometimes become a bit ambiguous or doubtful, or you may become too something you're hesitant to take a decision because you feel like, oh, what if this doesn't sell, like I was just telling you. No. So these were the few advantages and disadvantages of proprietorship. But overall, I have done both. As I have started my business and I have closed my business, and I've realized it does take a lot of time of yours. It does take a lot of passion of yours. It does take a lot of interest of yours, and always you must have knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, it's okay. You can get knowledge, but you should be open and happy to take decisions and take some risk for sure if you want to start your own proprietorship business. Now, that was something which I wanted to share with you in terms of proprietorship. But I think there is something more. If you don't want to be a sole proprietor, that is, if you do not want to start your own business by yourself, there is another way of doing it. That means where you are not doing just by yourself. You want someone to join you. Yes, indeed. That is called partnership. So let's go and have a look. What is a partnership? You tell me. Do you think you ever heard this word before? I'm sure you would have heard this word before. What is a partnership? Okay. When two or more people, they join together or associate together to set up a business. Very simple, isn't it? So it's association of two or more people to run a show or run a business. As simple as you want to start a travel agency, but there are two owners, or you want a hotel, but there are two owners, and obviously these two owners have some agreement with each other that how much money am I putting, how much money is A putting, how much money is B partner putting, and obviously there are terms and conditions. If this happens, what? If that happens, what? So obviously, when it comes to partnership, like you have to have a black and white, to be very honest, or in written agreement, which is more so important because that will bring you in required terms and conditions, and there will be no doubt, and we will be running as a good show. Now, let's go more towards what could be the advantages. What do you think? Do you think there are advantages, or do you think there are disadvantages, or maybe both? What do you think? Let's look at the advantages. Maybe one that you can think of before I say. You can pause this video and think, what could be advantages of having a joint partnership? Partnership? Yes. Let's look at it. So, it is quite easy to set up the very first thing as compared to a joint stock company. So, partnerships are easier to actually set up. That means it's easy to set up, same as your sole proprietorship. Also, good news is it is easier to dissolve too, but not as easy as sole proprietorship, because sole proprietorship you are the own boss, but here you have someone else who's also the boss. That means two people taking decision. They may They may find everything together. That means they may work together and take the same decision. They may not work together and same decisions. Okay. Now, next comes is when you have partnership. So obviously, there is a greater flexibility. What do you mean by that? A flexibility mean, when you have sole proprietorship, obviously, you are the only one who is running the show, isn't it? You are the only one who's managing the finances, who's managing the payroll, who's financing the accounts, who's managing the staff, who's managing rostering, who's managing marketing, who's managing sales, who's managing operations, who's managing overall policies and procedures, who's managing government regulations. Oh my God, isn't it? So when there's a partnership, so these things get divided. Now, isn't it easy? Now, imagine you have to put it this way. Let's say you have to pick up 100 kilo of load from ground floor to first floor, right? And then you get another person. Now it becomes 50 kilo for each, isn't it? And then it'll be easier. Same load, you may take more time, but when you do it together, you may take half the time or maybe more less than that, because you might be tired doing all the things, but then two people are there, you may take maybe 20 kilo each. So, or maybe less than that, depending on that. So obviously, a partnership divides and gives you more flexibility in terms of you have flexibility in decision making, isn't it? Well, not really 100%, but then yes, you have another person, another pair of eyes and the brain to sit with you, and you can talk together and find a solution to a problem, or maybe find a new strategy, or to develop a new plan, or to look at the products, any issues, or if there is any problem, to solve it together as a team, or adding any money into the business, enjoying the success, starting a new venture, or so many things. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, right? Now, obviously, there is another thing which is very good, that in terms of when there are two people, when you're doing a business, so your management becomes easy. My example of load of 100 kilos, that means I was telling you finances, marketing, sales, government regulations, operations. So maybe I will take operations, regulations, and maybe sales and marketing. You take operations, you take accounting, and you take staff. So work is divided. So what happened? So now I'll be focusing on that, but we'll have a meeting together every week or every month, and then see where we're going and whatnot. We give us suggestions to each other, so we have not double the force, right? So that's exactly what it is. So in this case, your partnership really helps you to divide your work, to have more better decisions, to have an extra pair of eyes and extra brain to work together as a team and to reach a solution. Don't you think? It's a good part, and most important part. Any business requires money, isn't it? So do the partners. They have now capacity. One person has the capacity to invest, other person capacity. So now they both can invest pool money in here together. Number one, they can invest money. Let's say they run into trouble. Person A does not have, maybe person B can use his contacts and whatnot. Then they can again join together and invest money in there. So raising finance is actually another good part that we can look in the as a very good advantage in terms of partnership. So that means partnerships are really good if they manage well. Partnerships are good in terms of flexibility. Partnerships are good in terms of I would say saving time also, dividing workload, investments, managing finance, managing business, having more idea. Oh my goodness, isn't it? So good. Do you think there are some disadvantages too? Let's have a look. Okay, let's go and have a look at it. So what do you think? Before I say something, I want you to think about it. To tick, tick, tick. What could be the disadvantage? All right, let me go first. You can pause it and think about it before you listen to me. All right, the first thing is unlimited liability and legal responsibility. What is this? That means both the partners have unlimited liability and legal responsibility. So what happens? When you were sole proprietorship, you had full responsibility for your business, right? When you have a partnership, let's say I am only 25% partner, right? And the other person is 75% partner. So if something goes wrong, I am liable to pay my 25% and he's supposed to pay 75%. But what if this person is not able to pay 75%? He pays only 25%. Then legally, I'm supposed to pay remaining to 50%. That's what it is. So what do you mean by that? That means you have unlimited liability and legal responsibility to pay back. Now, imagine I only invested and this person has a property, let's say, worth of 1 lakh. I may have a property worth of 25 lakhs and our business has a loss of 10 lakhs. But I was supposed to pay only 2.5 lakhs and he was supposed to pay, the partner was supposed to pay 7.5 lakhs. I paid my 2.5 lakhs, but my partner had a house property 1 lakh only, so he paid only 1 lakh. So 3.5 lakh, 6.5 lakh, that will come back to me because he cannot pay. He says, hey, this is what I had, I paid everything, I cannot pay anymore. I have no resources. So legally, then I'll be responsible to fill up the balances. Now that's something which is obviously I would not like to. That's why what happens is that people, they do not add particular investments or properties or but obviously that's a further legal requirements under that. So what I'm trying to say is it's actually obviously that comes under you. So that's a bit of a concern to see when you're doing a partnership, what are you attaching with you in terms of your properties and investments, and how do you want to plan. So you need to be very careful and seek legal advice before you start a partnership. Okay, what if the second part, next, we were good partners and we're doing good thing, we're happy, we're doing, and then one fine day we have a misunderstanding. We have a misunderstanding on employing a new staff member. My partner does not want to employ a new staff member, but I see that there's so many people standing for our souvenir shop at Jammu and Katra. There's so many people standing in the queue and we cannot serve them and they're going back. But if I have one more person, so then 3 of us can do the job and then we can have more money. But my partner says no, that's extra cost. We don't know if the customer comes or not. But I feel the customers are coming, we should do it. Because it's like, I feel if you open a shop, then only customer will come. Customer will not come and there's no shop, isn't it? But he feels no, that's not the case. So what if we have a misunderstanding? Simple question I gave you. Yes, you may have misunderstanding, and obviously when there's a misunderstanding, there's arguments. There may be arguments. So what is happening with the efficiency of the work? Every time I see extra customer standing, I look at him, I'll go angry. Oh, come on. And then what is happening is like, hey, come on, let's do it. So our energies will not be focused more so towards the business. Our energies will be focused more so towards why X is not there or is there or not there. So obviously the efficiency of the business really can actually be compromised. So that's something obviously will actually impact. That's one thing. But if our it starts from there, like having, but we are not on the same page. That means we do not agree to each other's request or question or decision. I want to do extra stuff and he doesn't want to do extra stuff, but it really impacts the whole business, and it will move on from one staff to what color of how much have you purchased, why you purchased this time, why not. So interpersonal relationship really starts impacting the other parts, from marketing or you're not doing good marketing, whatnot. So if there are issues, then we start fault finding, and that can really lead to a negative impact on the business operations also. And what if the situation moves on further? That means if that's lingered and not solution is not given, or let's say if after having a good discussion and maybe argument, I succeed in convincing my partner that we need to have extra staff. Let's say we have extra staff and the clientele is reduced because there was no staff and they had to wait, they didn't come anymore. So the clientele goes down, then it becomes more issue to give the wages. It's, hey, you give wages from your pocket, da 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 da. So things actually become more problematic, and then it goes over in long term. If the business is not positive and not conducive, so that could be very very big issue. And if things don't work between the partners, so that becomes obviously dissolving the business. It is not difficult to dissolve the business, but it is not that easy as in compared to sole proprietorship. So obviously then there'll be balance of payments. What is that? This is the money, this is the inventory left, so many souvenirs are there. Whom do we sell, how much we sell, again a decision. When do we close the shutter, when do we pay the rent, what is the lease of that rental lease of the shop, or you own the shop. So there's so many things that becomes a decisions that need to be taken, and this becomes a difficult in terms of decision making. So overall, what we realized, we saw that there are pros and cons in both, isn't it? In sole proprietorship also, and in a partnership also. Now I leave you up over here today with the question to think about it. What do you think? Do you want a sole proprietorship? Is that good for you? Or as an entrepreneur, or do you think partnership is a good thing to do, isn't it? So for this, with this question or thought in your mind, I leave you here with this session, and I'll see you in the next session. Till then, take care. Have a good day. Bye.